Yes. So energy savings. So energy efficiency, 20 to 30% energy savings can be adopted through this. Next we have the new rating systems. The all the important issues I discussed last day, that this we will learn in details. Okay. Sustainable architecture I already discussed last day, that this is the IGBC or Indian Green Building Council rating system. One is for owner occupied building, and for tenant occupied building we have 100 points each. And 100 points. Owner occupied building means the normal residential building or the flat complexes or residential complex which are very much prominent, and tenant occupied buildings refers to the offices actually. Okay. Actually, they have not demarcated any other the performance, or they have not demarcated any other utility of the buildings like residential or commercial or educational like that. So they have only classified in two groups. Okay. So the offices comes under the tenant occupied buildings. Since we are learning in buildings and infrastructure, we will be focusing on those issues. Okay. Sustainable, already I discussed sustainable architecture and design, which have a 5 points distribution. Huge area to score marks is site selection and planning, where we have 14 points, maximum 14 points that can be credited on this issue, site selection and planning. Site selection and planning. Okay. Water conservation, it is another area where people can score a huge amount, 18 points or 19 points in tenant occupied buildings. Absolutely. Okay. Xiaomi raised hand, I will come to you afterwards. So there are 5 rating systems: certified, silver, gold, platinum, and super platinum. Okay. Certified, the basic thing, good practices. So this chart will surely come as an MCQ. Every year I give this. Okay, so certified means good practices, silver means best practices, gold means outstanding performance, platinum national excellence, and super platinum means global leadership. Okay, so whenever, just like we go for structural auditing, the IGBC council members, they also go for this auditing to various buildings to address these issues. Now, coming to a very important thing, what is the importance of green buildings? Already I told you, but again, the repetition, buildings represent a very polluting sector between the construction of houses and tertiary buildings and their occupancy and use. So they represent a considerable amount of resources and energy. So the energy consumption by the buildings, they can be what should I say? They can be addressed in 2 types of energy. Okay, the buildings which that means how much energy we are wasting or how much energy we are consuming on buildings, that can be calculated. Okay, those who are learning the sustainable construction materials, the subject is an elective subject, very nice subject which I take a class at my institute. We actually learn how to calculate the how much energy is being consumed by the buildings, or how much energy that is consumed for utilization and production of building materials. The calculation of energy inside the building, when we talk about calculation of energy inside buildings, then it is known as operational energy. Okay. Okay. So calculation of energy in buildings. Calculation of energy in buildings, it's known as operational energy. Very important. Operational energy. That means how much energy we are utilizing during the operation or performance of the building. That means when we are occupying the building, that means we utilizing the building, right? So how much energy that is consumed in form of in form of any item. It can be electricity, it can be water, it can be fuel, natural gas. So the calculation of energy in buildings can be two types. First is operational energy, that is known as, and another type of energy which we calculate for the manufacture and production. Another calculation we go for, that is the calculation for, write down, let us say calculation for manufacture. Very interesting this is. Calculation for manufacture, production, and transportation to site. Transportation. Transportation to site. These things, basically it's a huge amount of calculation. Any building material or any product which is used in building construction, that calculation of energy is known as embodied energy. EMBODIED, embodied energy. So for particular one room, for example, let me tell that for a one room, I have a small room of 10 meter by 50 meter. And in a particular room, whatever the materials I have used for construction purpose, that I can calculate using the embodied energy chart. Okay, calculation of energy. So that is basically, it's known as calculation of energy consumed or required. Calculation of energy required. Calculation of energy required for manufacture from the raw materials, production with, that is in the factories, it is produced. Some are produced in the factory, some are produced at the site. So all these, whatever for transportation, how much fuel I am requiring. So all these calculation goes under embodied energy. Okay, the very nice thing. I will show you that for every construction material, we have a chart. We can calculate embodied energy. How? Because based on the energy, based on the energy produced per kg, based on the energy in terms of megajoule per kg, we have the values, predefined values, and based on that, how for a particular construction work, we multiply that amount, that is megajoule per kg, in terms of the quantity. Okay, so this is how we calculate the embodied energy. So we actually calculate these two things, operational energy and embodied energy in buildings. Not only in green buildings, but in any building, we can calculate. Okay, those who are linked with the sustainable development or sustainable energy conservation, they are more focused in this area. Next. So in short, basically, the impact of green buildings is very popular. This impact of green building is very popular. Now let me come to the thing which I was discussing, that is the green building techniques that are adopted. Okay, very interesting. Let me see effectively what are the various components of green building that is adopted. Okay, techniques as well as I will say it as components. Various green building components. The components in green buildings. Components. Okay, so component means what are the individual parts maybe natural, maybe artificial, that needs to be incorporated in a particular green building, so that I can say that yes, this building can be termed as a green building to some extent. So how they are basically, it's a very small schematic diagram which as a civil engineer you should know in today's decade. Green building concept was very primitive when I was in my bachelor's degree. We actually we talk on still at that time, so from 11, 12, 13. During that time, this concept was still in a very nascent stage. Okay, not very developed stage. People used to discuss this thing, but not in detailed manner. But now it is quite in practice nowadays. Okay, so green building is an emerging area. I always tell my students this is a very emerging area where new civil engineers they can get a job where the future is very promising, because as you know the renewable sector, huge amount of renewable sector will be emphasized by the government of India. Even in the newspapers, those who read newspapers, they know that every day, then and there, this concept of renewable energy has been discussed by the government of India in the parliament. Okay, so how things can be implemented in construction is very important, not only in buildings but also in railways, highways, everywhere, every sector. Okay, in your airway engineering. Okay, so everywhere the sustainability is considered. So if you go to top-notch airports like in Mumbai, like in Chennai, you will see that sustainability is not a new thing, it is in practice. In railways, many of the areas you will see that sustainability is a practice nowadays. Okay, so you have to observe various new things which have been implemented. Okay, first is the use of alternate energy source for electricity, photovoltaic panel cells on the southern end. Why on the southern end? Can anyone tell me? For a particular residential building, if we provide electric solar panels, of photovoltaic cell, a photovoltaic panel on the southern end of the buildings, it will be very efficient. It will be very effective, I should say. Why on the southern end? Can anyone tell me? Why not on the northern? Why not on the eastern? Why the southern end? It's their what should I say? Promoting or recommended. Why it is recommended on southern end?
Sir, because sun moves from east to west through south, and the highest temperature can be recorded when the sun is in south. That is near about 12
Absolutely.
p.m.,
Absolutely.
3 p.m.
That means throughout the day, if we consider that in a 24 hours day, majority of the majority of the day, the sun is moving towards southwest to south to southeast, southeast to south to southwest. So more or less, we see that most of the sun rays of the sunlight is being obtained at the southern region of the of any building or any site, southern region. So more or less southeast, southwest, south. So since a huge amount of the day of about minimum 7 to 8 hours, the sun rays are very much prevalent or available. That is why it is very efficient if the photovoltaic or solar cells are placed in the southern end of a building. So maximum effect or maximum energy consumption or energy utilization can be obtained. Secondly, metal or light colored roofing. Metal or light colored roofing, so that huge amount of sunlight can be reflected. So that if you use dark color for paints, it is quite recommended. If you use dark color for shirts or dark color for paints, huge amount of sun light heat is absorbed by the body. That is why light colored any material light colored is recommended. Second, third, buildings with trees shaded on east and west. So all these components are very important to understand. Buildings with trees shaded on east and west, very much recommended, even if it is not possible to cover the surrounding area of the plot or the site with the ample amount of trees or greenery. At least you provide east and on the west buildings. Okay, if at least it's recommended. Okay. Next, energy efficient, low energy windows and glass. That means we should use such type of glass which will absorb heat within the room, or which will allow huge amount of so that is the UV screening glass panels also is very important if we use windows and glass. Okay. Light colored exterior walls, already I told you that light colored is very important. Alternate solar panels as a water heater also. In cold countries, in cold areas, the majority of the day is very less sunlight is absorbed. Okay, so it is better if you use solar panel for water heaters, and is very commonly adopted technique in many hotels in India. In many hotels in India, in Gujarat, in Delhi, in many of the hotels, you will see not only 5-star hotel but also 3-star, 2-star hotels. They are using solar panels for water heating purpose. Okay, so they are saving money in that area. Okay, it's very common. It's a very common thing in our residential buildings also. In some planned area in cities, people are using solar panels for water heaters, solar panels for electricity usage. Rainwater collection. We required some techniques for rainwater harvesting. Important. Native plantation. I will discuss this in because if we have greenery, it is better to have a native planting like tulsi, like neem. They are very common. Native plantation, what it does, it two important things are there. One is it increases the soil quality. Second is it have multiple advantages. Not only it increases soil quality, but also it increases the surrounding natural soil ecosystem. Native plants. Central vacuum system, if possible, it is not compulsory. A safe room, sometimes it is not very compulsory, is optional. I tell. Properly sized mechanicals. Properly sized mechanicals means not any device, mechanical or electrical, not any device is very huge size, because more the size of the instrument, more the size of the appliance, more it will, what happens, more it will consume electricity, more it will consume if it's running on for example fossil fuel like oil, gas, like this, then it will consume huge amount of energy. Simple concept, a small car or a small an SUV, if it consumes, for example, let us see, for 1 liter for 18 kilometers, an XUV or TUV, obviously for 1 liter it will move maximum 12 to 15 kilometers for 1 liter. So the bigger the size of the device, bigger the size of the appliance, more it will consume the energy. It can be any form of energy, electricity, it can be in the form of gas, natural gas, oil, all these things. That means you have to you have a common sense. You have to have a common sense. Okay. It's very important. Whenever you are buying something, for example, vacuum cleaner. If you're buying something, an AC, a 1 or 1.5 ton or 2 ton maximum in AC. So you have to think about that. The more the capacity of the AC, more it will consume the electricity, even though there is 3-star and 5-star ratings of ACs also. Okay. So for ACs it is there, but for other devices, the star rating is not very prominent, I must say. Okay. So we have to be very much judicious. I always say to my fellow civil engineers that you should be judicious enough. Central dehumidification system. It is also in very optional cases. Energy star appliances and light fixtures. Energy star, 3-star, 5-star, so that it absorbs or it consumes less electricity. Low or zero VOC. Low or zero VOC means volatile organic compounds. Low or zero VOC flooring and paint. We should use nowadays Asian Paints, Berger, all these companies with big shots in the paint industry, they are going for zero or low VOC, volatile organic compound. What they does, they whenever you apply paint using these chemicals, VOC rich chemical, what they do, they decrease the indoor quality. It decrease indoor quality, it will what it happens over days and days, it releases harmful gases in the air, light odor or harmful odor in the gas, which you and I will not understand. But on the long run, yeah, they are very harmful for children and for old people also. Next, if possible, we provide large overhangs. Overhangs means large shade. Wherever possible, you provide shade. You provide portico. You provide shade, you provide portico, so that shading area is increased, not open. This is very important thing, which is very much not followed in many offices, in many institutions. I see open air, completely open parking, open car parking, which we have in Haiti also. It's very alarming. It's not very good. The large parking area beside the CEME building is completely open with no grass or with no tree shade. It's a very bad thing. I should always say. Whenever we should have a car parking area, we should have somewhat trees, big trees should be there, so that heat energy or the heat is absorbed, so that the surrounding area does not become so much of heated also. Okay. So because direct sunlight, when the cars are parked on direct sunlight, is a very bad effect. Okay. Next, carbon monoxide alarm. Very nice thing, very nice technique, which is measure, which is being implemented by many electronic companies like Siemens. I will show you videos. They use carbon monoxide alarm so that if any formation of carbon dioxide beyond the limits, for example, a room which has a capacity of 50 people, you are keeping 80 people in one particular room. Now, obviously, the carbon dioxide formation will be more, indoor air quality will reduce, and people who slightly have an effect of nausea or asthma, they will start coughing. So alarm is there. Siemens company, they have come in collaboration with many infrastructures in many buildings. They set up carbon monoxide alarm and also anti-smoking alarm. If any people do some notorious work by smoking in the premises, which is not intent to do, that very important thing. Okay. Common problem occurs if you go to any bar, you will see that when the problem occurs mainly in the bar area. Bars, for example, you smoke continuously, a lot of people coming here smoking without any restrictions. What happens? It reduces the indoor air quality, and people staying within that room will all of a sudden will fall sick, might be. Minimal carpet usage. Carpets release huge amount of dust and waste. So minimal carpet usage is another way we can bring green building technique. High quality insulation and ceiling. High quality insulation means